This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Hi friends, welcome to Dads and Daddies, a podcast about the lives and times of adult gay men in the here and now. I'm Brian Ruben Sowers, the dad.
And I am Judson Morrow, the daddy.
Hi, Judson.
Brian, what's going on, dude?
You know, I saw you, 48 hours ago?
Yeah, and then 24 hours before that. What do we have going on after this? Should I just move in here?
Yes.
Your kids would love it.
The kids would love it. No comment.
Yeah.
The kids would love it. No, but I live such a busy life. So much has happened since I saw you.
Oh, do tell.
So as our listeners know, in the summer and fall of 2024, my family and I were obsessed with Cats the Jellicle Ball downtown off Broadway at the Perlman Arts Center near the World Trade Center. But now that production has moved uptown to Broadway, and we returned to it yesterday for the first time. And all I can say is that, many people have been curious how it was going to transfer because it was a very unique staging. It's done on a runway. It takes its inspiration from ballroom culture, as featured in Paris is Burning. And people were very curious how it was going to translate to a Broadway theater. And what I can say as somebody who is overly critical of the theater that I see, that it is, and I mean this with, I guess, pun intended, it is perfection.
Oh my God. Meow.
It is if there were some
perfection
tiny quips I might have had about the production 2 years ago, they've all been
ironed out.
Mm-hmm. It transfers beautifully. It is so gorgeous. It is in every way. It is such a celebration of queerness and of people of color that are queer, of trans people, and the way that this production makes this nonsensical show make absolute sense, but not just does it make sense, but heart-wrenching sense. I mean, some of the lyrics now are so powerful when they are being spoken about the queer person of color community. You know what I mean? I just couldn't love it anymore. This was, we brought the kids who also just love this show. They saw it a couple times downtown, but again, just couldn't have been happier yesterday. I really can't recommend it enough. And I think as Judson noted on a recent episode, there are some seats in, what are the boxes at a traditional theater on, mezzanine level on the sides, where I think there's 10 seats total, 5 on each side. And they're around tables, and you're in the action, and they actually go for a reasonable price. I mean, considering Broadway prices these days.
Yeah. I mean, what is reasonable?
Well, exactly.
I'm excited because I knew you had been. I knew you were going back.
Yeah.
My husband had just been. We're having a guest from the show.
We are
as a guest on this show. So I was like, I want to go see it. And I only picked them because they were cheap. And when you click on the actual steps to the purchase, it gives you a reminder. It's these are very close to the stage. you're in the action.
Yeah.
And I always get really, not because I'm like a nervous person, but whenever I hear the word immersive as part of a theater experience, I'm like, fuck. I don't want that.
I will tell you, you're not in any danger of being noticed. Like, the lights are never on you. You're never asked to do anything. Like, I didn't notice the people in those seats, but what I was taking note of was that, like, oh, those would be very fun seats to be in.
It's kind of like I have a friend who at comedy shows likes to be in the front because he knows he's a good plant.
Okay.
Like, he's handsome and he's funny and like he riffs really well, like as a non-comedian. So he's like, oh my God, like I love to get quote unquote called on by teacher, but that is not me.
Right.
Like, you and I were at a comedy show and the comedian came to me and I was like,
well, you will not get called on at Cat's Jellicle Ball. But these look like really fun seats, to the point that my older daughter, looked at those and said, oh, I want to come back and sit in those seats. So I've got tickets in those seats.
Well, what's funny too is my husband every year treats his nieces to a Broadway show. Like, that's the thing that they do together, which I think is just the sweetest, coolest thing in the world. So he asked me, like, what night are you going to the Jellicle Ball? And he ended up getting, not at the same table, but like the other table seats in the box on the same night. So I'll be like a little bit ahead of them, but we'll all essentially be together.
They're essentially together.
It's close. Okay.
They're essentially together. And there's only 5 total. So if he's 3 of them, and you're 1.
Well, I just don't want him to cock block me, because my fantasy is that like I show up at a table and there's like a hot gay guy is like the other ticketed person.
Right.
Actually, that's so rude of me. He would be a value add. I'd be like, that's my husband too.
Yeah.
And that's
I
our
have
niece.
no idea who those girls
that's
are.
our niece cringing. Yeah, I don't know that. I don't know this woman that he's with.
That's amazing. So highly recommend Cat's Jellicle Ball. And then last night was our neighborhood's progressive dinner.
Progressive is such a loaded word. Like, what does that mean?
What it means is
like
that
Brooklyn Democrats eat shawarma.
I mean, yes, it does mean that also, but that's not the intent of the title. No, what it means is that you sign up for this, and we volunteered to be one of the hosting houses. We don't host typically, but last night we hosted. And we made that joke last night, and Toby said, "Oh, that's going in the podcast, isn't it?" So anyway, there's one house in the neighborhood that hosts appetizers, and everybody who signs up for this dinner goes there for appetizers. And then everybody is divided into several houses for dinner. So we hosted a dinner for, it was 10 of us. There was one couple that we know, not well, but we knew, and then the others we didn't know. One was very new to the neighborhood, young. One has been in the neighborhood for 40, 50 years, so it was fun. And then after that, so appetizers were, I think, 6 o'clock to 7:30. At 7:30, everybody's supposed to go to the houses they've been assigned for dinner. The hosting house is responsible for the main, but everybody else brings a side dish.
Mm-hmm.
And then at 9 o'clock, we all went to a totally different house for desserts.
This is really sweet.
It was very sweet.
I feel like there's a large cultural conversation, like in the gay community and other communities, about connection, just because of how isolating technology has created our lives to be.
Right. And how technology has allowed us to only connect with people that are like-minded, and therefore for all of us to get brainwashed into thinking our own ways.
Yeah, it's what do they call it? Not a sound box.
An echo chamber?
Yeah. I'm so dumb.
No, you're not.
No, echo chamber is absolutely.
Don't you have a master's in linguistics?
Yeah, correct. But like sound box. Fucking
an
idiot.
echo chamber, yes. You're not an idiot. Go on.
Did you have a nice time? Do you have new friends?
Well, we did. So it was very funny. We left appetizers a little bit early because Toby was cooking a chicken rollatini for, 10 people and needed to get back and check on it and get everything ready. And as we were leaving the appetizer house, we see this couple who can only be another gay couple our age, which was kind of shocking to us, like in this neighborhood, to not already know of them between so many different ways. And
yeah, I'm like, if you're gay and live in a 4-block radius, I know you.
Right? I thought so. And anyway, so I clocked them, but we were on our way out. And I'm like, God, I really hope they show up at dessert. So they did show up at dessert, and I just walked right up and I said, so who are you? How do I not know you? And it just made me think of what you were saying somewhat recently about just, you were in Mexico and just noticing that like straight groups of people don't just go up and talk to other straight groups of people. I just walked right up and said, how do I not know you? And we ended up spending the rest of the evening talking to them and exchange information. And, hopefully we'll now bring them into our group of neighborhood gays.
And it can go so many ways, right? And they're all positive because you tried. Like they could be like, and not want to engage, and that's also fine. Like that's totally up to them. Or it could just be like a one-night fling. Like you can have a friendship fling.
Yeah, totally.
The same way you can have a one-night stand.
Yeah. So we'll definitely keep in touch. And we texted a little bit this morning, and it turns out we do have some, larger life stuff in common. And so we'll see. But it was really nice and kind of a surprise result, because typically we just don't think of this event as something where we're going to meet other gay folk. We think of it as like, oh, we're going to meet the older generation of people who've been in the neighborhood for decades and, learn more about the history of this neighborhood, or just meet people who have found this neighborhood. I mean, we do live in a kind of unique neighborhood, so it is always interesting to hear somebody's story as to why they ended up here.
I mean, I started, so my husband and I are expanding our travel repertoire, and it has begun to, include home exchange.
Oh.
We were like, wouldn't it be awesome if we could do a reciprocal exchange or like bank the credits, whatever. And I bill our neighborhood as like, hey man, if this is your first time to New York City and you want a Manhattan-centric experience, just stay in Manhattan.
Right.
But if you like have been to Brooklyn and love Brooklyn, or are interested in exploring Brooklyn and feel like you might spend much of your time here, but also may 1 or 2 nights want easy enough access to like Times Square for a show, this is it. And we're starting to get hits like exactly aligns with like how I sold it.
Yeah.
People are like, hey, like we love Brooklyn. Like we've never been to your neighborhood. Like it's really special. Like I do like it here. I'm really happy that my husband is happy here.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us about your latest travails with your phone?
I'll keep it brief. My husband and I spent a beautiful 5 days in Playa del Carmen. I have said this on the show before. The new gay vacation is not gay.
Right.
It's a 4-hour flight from New York City to Cancun, an hour drive from there. Playa del Carmen, at least what I read, is Mexico's fastest growing city.
Oh, wow.
It is on the beach. The beach is beautiful. It's a built up resort town, and the nice thing is like we stayed in what I would call like a city resort, like leafy, verdant, little cabanas, but we could like leave and walk to the city.
Right.
The last night we were there, I dropped my phone on the sidewalk just because I was trying to look at it while walking. I'm very lucky. I have a Motorola Razr. The inside is totally useless, but there's a screen on the outside. The problem is like it's kind of broken too. So I can text, but it also just like inserts GIFs and memes and like things from the clipboard. It's just like a very messy situation. You're not the best texter on a good day. No, that's correct. That's correct. Like people are like, what word could that possibly even be? That's funny. Long story short, like it was quote unquote undelivered to my apartment because no one answered, although they never rang. And then on Friday, it got delivered. And I'm like, it's not here. Like somebody signed for it.
Right.
But it's not here. And then I went through the FedEx record and it got delivered to the same unit number on a street that sounds like ours, starts with the same letter and has the same number of letters, but is like 4 or 5 blocks away. So I am going to try to go. Is it crazy? Like, I'm going to try to go there and be like, hey, man, you probably just get a lot of packages and sign for this willy-nilly. Like, do you have my phone? And if not, I'll get my husband on the phone with FedEx because I'm married to a customer service Karen, which sometimes makes me cringe and then other times gets me home from a foreign airport 2 hours earlier.
Right.
So it's just like, okay, this is good.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. My hope is that, I mean, this would have been more fun if you were single, but my hope is that you arrive at this building, you're like, oh, I've hooked up in this building, and then...
Or that it's the hookup.
Or that, well, exactly that. And then you get to the apartment like, oh!
Or alternatively, like not the hookup, but like a potential hookup.
Yes,
like dude answers the door and is like, I've got your phone, but like...
It's right here.
Yeah, exactly. How badly do you want it?
Oh my God. Speaking of hookups, we have a hookup of the week from a familiar voice.
Ooh!
Hookup of the week.
Hi, Brian. Hi, Judson. It's me again, the guy from Cologne, who is still searching the lock at the bridge. At the moment, I am in Playa del Ingles on Gran Canaria, a gay destination for decades. Just returned to my apartment from a short hookup. As we all know, the guys on the apps always think that the next profile shows the better one. But this time I was lucky. So I went for a little walk to meet this hot British redhead who wanted to give head. And while he sucked me off, I tried some daddy things I learned from you. Giving orders like suck it son or look at me, etc. But respectful. It seemed that he liked that. Or maybe as a polite British gentleman. Well, anyway, I'm now relaxed for the night. Cheers.
Hookup of the week.
I love this guy. I love this guy so much. Like, he's just so sweet, and like he really has like amazing sex.
I know. The reference that he made to the lock on the bridge, we must have corresponded about this when he sent in one of these or via DM, but I proposed to Toby in Cologne, which is where this person lives. And they have a bridge there that I'm not going to try to pronounce, but where it's covered with locks that people put on there, love locks that, with their initials or commemorates their relationship. I know Paris has a very famous one, but Cologne also has this bridge, and it's just covered with locks. And so I used to have to go to Cologne annually for work, and Toby met me out there the year that we had met. To begin a vacation, we then went to Switzerland. We saw Madonna on her MDNA tour. We then spent some time in Switzerland. But in those days in Cologne, I proposed to him, and we put a lock on that bridge. And so that's what our friend is referring to. But I always love when I hear from our hookups of the week that we've been an inspiration.
Oh, and just the fact that he's trying new things. Like, I said this, I did this.
Yeah.
And honey, like, I don't think you have to assume that he was just being like a polite English gentleman. Like, I'm fairly certain he enjoyed sucking your dick.
Exactly. Thank you so much for sending. Please keep sending them. And yes, all of you, please do send your hookups of the week. You can record them on your phone using your voice recorder or voice memo app, depending on your platform, and email it to us at dadsanddaddies@gmail.com. We have been getting more and more hookups of the week that are written out. We do need you to record them for us to use them, but we love all the emails we get from you, regardless of what they are. Please also remember to submit us some questions for Dr. Dimitri Daskalakis or Dr. Evan Goldstein. Dr. Dimitri Daskalakis, of course, can answer all your infectious disease questions. Dr. Evan Goldstein can answer all your bottoming and butt questions. And then also we're going to have Nick Wolney on the podcast soon, who is the personal finance columnist for Out Magazine. And he has a book, The Queer Guide to Generate... the book is Money Proud, The Queer Guide to Generate Wealth, Slay Debt, and Build Good Habits to Secure Your Future. So if you have financial questions, send those our way.
I love this book so much because what it does not do is, like, other financial books are like, hey, girl, so all you have to do with the $150,000 you're starting with, and it's like, Jesus Christ.
Right.
This is like, hey, like, it might be your first job, like, you might have no savings, like, $25 is a lot of money over 40. It's a really lovely read.
And then, speaking of lovely reads, next week on the podcast, we have John Paul Bramer, who you may know as the advice columnist Hola Papi, and who's also the author of a book of the same name, Hola Papi. Hola Papi, How to Come Out in a Walmart Parking Lot and Other Life Lessons. So you should pick up that book. We're considering this the launch of the Dads and Daddies book club. And so you give it a read before you listen to us talk with John Paul Bramer next week. With that, why don't we take a quick break? We are going to be back here in a moment with Bright Light, Bright Light.
See you soon.
This episode brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Shifting a little money here, a little there, and hoping it all works out? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can get a better budgeter and potentially lower your insurance bill too. You tell Progressive what you want to pay for car insurance, and they'll help find you options within your budget. Try it today at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
You're listening to this podcast, so I know you've got a curious mind. Here's a helpful fact you might not know yet. Drivers who switch and save with Progressive save over $900 on average. Pop over to Progressive.com, answer some questions, and you'll get a quick quote with discounts that are easy to come by. In fact, 99% of their auto customers earn at least one discount. Visit Progressive.com and see if you can enjoy a little cash back. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. National average 12-month savings of $946 by new customers surveyed who saved with Progressive between June 2024 and May 2025. Potential savings will vary.
Hey, listeners. Welcome back to Dads and Daddies, the podcast. He's not like all the other boys. He's giving you music. They're giving you noise. Rod Thomas is here, also known as Bright Light, Bright Light. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
It's absolutely our pleasure. What's up?
Well, just a lovely sunny Sunday. It's actually not freezing today. That's a nice change.
Yeah.
It feels good.
All right. I am going to, we always start by reading our guest bio, however uncomfortable that may be for you. So Bright Light is an artist born in Wales, living in New York City, who has toured the world with icons Elton John, Cher, Erasure, and Scissor Sisters, and has also recorded songs over his 5 studio albums to date with Elton John, all Scissor Sisters members, Andy Bell of Erasure, Justin Vivian Bond, and Alternate, to name but a few of his incredible collaborations. His focus is on community and joy, and he prides himself on live shows and DJ sets that bring light and laughter in dark times. So once again, welcome to Dads and Daddies.
Thank you.
So we're going to call you Rod, yes? Mm-hmm. Okay. So you're in 2 days, you're about to hit the road with Grag Queen.
Yes.
You're leaving for Nashville.
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I was feeling fantastic until the TSA drama.
Sure.
I will say I'm feeling less fabulous right now before I get to the airport, but the shows will be amazing, and Grag is fantastic. So I'm very excited to be part of that co-headline tour. It's just the timing is a touch troubling.
Right. Well, so we're recording this right now on March 29th. Rumor has it that maybe the TSA will get their paycheck soon.
Rumor has it. Yeah. There's been a lot of rumors and a lot of has and it's over the last couple of months.
Right.
So we'll see. The tour itself will be amazing. I mean, it's so cool to go on tour with another LGBTQ plus artist, especially one who's, really made a name for herself as like a drag queen whose primary talent is singing and songwriting.
Right. So Grag Queen was the winner of Queen of the Universe, which was the drag queen singing competition, and then is also known as the host of Drag Race Brasil.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, and she is fabulous. So this will be airing about not quite halfway through your tour. So for those of you listening, at this point, you're going on to Philadelphia, coming here to New York City, Boston, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and ending towards the end of the month, April 25th, in Palm Springs. Mm-hmm. That's so cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty comprehensive tour. It's the biggest tour that I've done in the States since about 2014.
Yeah.
So it'll be really cool to reconnect with a few places. Some I've never been before, so that'll be exciting.
Where have you never been?
Charlotte and Raleigh in North Carolina.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never been there.
Amazing. And I love that it is the Cosmic Light Tour. Because what I love about your music, so I came out of the closet in 1991, and I came out in Los Angeles. I was in college in Los Angeles. And I remember going to the dance bars in West Hollywood and hearing like Rosala, like Everybody's Free to Feel Good, and Supermodel of the World, not knowing who RuPaul was or that the person singing was a drag queen. But just that feeling of joy on the dance floor as like a newly out gay person and the freedom that felt like. And then fast forward to discovering the British Queer as Folk, which to my mind is the only Queer as Folk, and getting those CDs, the soundtracks, and just listening to those and the joy that music made me feel as a gay person that I hadn't felt all those years, in the closet. And listening to your music, that's the joy that it brings me. That's what it brings me back to, is that pride, that like real, when we talk about gay pride, like that's what I think your music embodies. So I love that in these very dark times that you're bringing the Cosmic Light tour to all these places.
We're trying to, for me, the best thing about music or doing music is connection to the outside world. So like, none of us write songs to be listened to in an empty cube.
Right.
So when you actually do get to go on stage and connect with a live audience, that's really the most rewarding thing. And I come from like a coal mining valley where there was truly nobody around. We didn't have neighbors. There were farms around me.
Yeah.
So I felt like, at the time I didn't really understand it, but like looking back, it was very socially isolated as my family. And the radio was my way to connect with other people and go into live shows. So now I get to do the shows that people come to, and I watch people making friends and coming back with the people that they met at my shows repeatedly. And that makes me feel very proud to be able to make community.
Yeah.
So it's just really cool to get to do that and to travel around and be part of this, wild mode of communication that happens to bring people together.
Yeah.
Speaking of your upbringing, we do have an international audience, but it is largely American. You are Welsh.
Yes.
Can you explain Wales? Like, where is it? What is it? I know, because my family's Welsh, and I think it has a really fascinating history, but I don't think the average American listener like totally gets it.
No, I'm very aware.
I've been to Wales. I've been to Holyhead.
Oh, okay. Yeah, in the north. I've spent my entire 13 years living in America re-explaining who and where I'm from. Wales is a country, and if you look at the map of the UK, if you've never looked at the map of the UK, scroll on Google Maps until it gets to a little tiny island off the north of Europe. Europe is a continent. So
I mean, in this day and age, that level of explanation is necessary.
Like somebody I've known for 13 years asked me what part of London Wales was in the other day, and I wanted to kill myself. So Wales is this country that is part of the UK. So the UK is Wales, England, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Great Britain is just the main island, which is Scotland, Wales, and England. So there's a bit of a distinction there. Obviously, the history between Northern Ireland and the UK and Ireland proper is very fractured and very tense. So Wales is a country in the UK that was conquered by England many, many centuries ago. We have our own language, which is called Welsh. When England conquered Wales, they tried to eradicate the language and they made it illegal for Welsh to be spoken. And they used to beat children in schools to stop them talking in their native tongue. There has been a huge resurgence in the last 2 decades, maybe 3 decades, of really trying to reinvigorate Welsh language in culture. So if you live and work in Wales now in media, you have to be learning Welsh to be able to get a job, which is amazing. And Wales is this wild country which looks a lot like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
The countryside is stunning. Unfortunately, a lot of the industry has kind of been stripped away because the coal mines were closed. The steel factory near where I grew up was closed not long ago. So it's not a very rich country financially, but the agriculture and the countryside and the coastlines are like absolutely incredible. We also have a big musical culture. So the tagline you see on like old trinkets, like if you go I Heart New York, ours is Wales, the land of song. So a big tradition in Wales is the male voice choir. So you have like groups of men that would gather in coal mining valleys and they would sing like a choir. Growing up, you always sang in school. You had choirs, and there's a thing called an Eisteddfod, which is a yearly competition where people compete with poetry, song, drama, and prose. And so you'd always have like singing competitions growing up. I grew up very close to where Catherine Zeta-Jones, Bonnie Tyler, Catherine Jenkins, who's a Welsh opera star, and Matthew Rhys, an actor, came from. Christian Bale is also Welsh. Shirley Bassey is probably our most famous musical export. She came from Tiger Bay in Cardiff. So there's a lot of culture associated with Wales that you probably might not know. Everyone thinks Catherine Zeta-Jones is American. She's not. She's Welsh.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you for that. Listen,
it is really helpful. And I just want to, I want to buttress. I went to Wales. I did my last semester of college in Nantes, France.
Right.
And my family was going to Wales. They had rented a self-catering cottage in Abergavenny.
Oh, wow.
Am I saying this correctly?
Yeah, you are.
In Abergavenny for a week. So I left Nantes. I met my college roommate in Madrid for a week, and then we went over to Wales, and I just loved it. Like, it was just such a unique experience. It's absolutely like the terrain is like so rugged, and I can't think of we don't use this word in American English, but like Sylvester is the word that comes to mind. It means like green and verdant and rocky and rugged, and it was just really beautiful.
What's really interesting about Wales to me is that North and South Wales is almost completely separate. So it's a very small country. There's only about 6 million people there, but the middle of the country is basically mountain range, right? So the public transport between North and South Wales is very, very minimal, to the point where for me to go to North Wales, I have to go into England and back into Wales.
It's like us getting into Williamsburg, Brooklyn.
It's very similar to that. It is exactly the same, and probably distance-wise not that much more. But it also means that the Welsh language spoken in North and South Wales is almost completely different.
Oh, wow.
So the Welsh language is very different. And my grandmother was from North Wales, and I would learn Welsh words from hearing her and my dad speak. And then I only realized quite recently that I was learning North Walian slang versus South Wales slang. So like the way the word for like need and want is slightly different, and like things are called different things, and like the accent is very different. And North Wales was kind of primarily Welsh first language, and South Wales would be Welsh second language because it was connected more to England with the M4 motorway, which would take it to London.
Wow. I'm going to bring this back to your music. So, you're an independent artist,
yes.
A proudly independent artist. But you've had this incredible career working with some of like the icons of the industry. You've recorded several times with Elton John, like your bio said, with every member of Scissor Sisters. You've toured with Cher. So, I'd just love to. Let's start with Elton. How did that relationship begin, and what is that relationship?
We became really good friends. So he has a management company that looks after different musical artists, and my manager at the time was taken on board to that company. So I was by proxy taken on as an artist, and the contact with him is very minimal. But I did meet him, and he was super nice, and I think just thought that I was like fascinating because none of them really could understand what I was trying to do. And so I went to watch one of his shows in Philadelphia when I was over here, and we hung out a little bit, and they were trying to work out what to do with me, and I put together like this bunch of songs that I really wanted to release, but the overall manager just didn't like what I was doing. So I left the management company thinking like, well, that's my chance to ever be friends with him, gone. But he's very sneaky, and he's very cool in that he really cares about music.
Yeah.
So he kept check on what I was doing in the 2 years between leaving then and putting out my first album. And the first album got 4 stars in Q magazine, which was it was like Rolling Stone, basically, in the UK. And he phoned me and he said, "Oh, I've just seen the review." And I was like, "Oh, I'll send you a copy." And he'd already ordered it. So the next week the album came out, he phoned me and said, "It's awesome, come for lunch." So I went for lunch at his house. It was me, him, and Lulu.
That's incredible.
Which is so wild. And I was a lot more confident then because I'd put out something and he liked it. And he was like, wow, you're like so much more funny and like vibrant than you were last time. I'm like, you realize that you're Elton John, right? And he's like, oh, fuck yeah, I forget that sometimes. And then we just started hanging out and had a really good time because I felt confident enough having achieved something tangible that I could be much more of myself. And we really get on. We have so much in common in terms of like music we like. He's so funny. And I think I make him laugh in the way that a lot of people you get surrounded by as a famous person are kind of like, not people pleasers, but like they act a certain way.
Sure.
And I just don't.
Right.
And I think he thinks I'm hilarious. So he kept me around. And then we were hanging out one day and he actually said, could I sing on a song with you? And I had, not long before that, I was writing a song. I had like a horrific relationship with this friend. And I was sat at my piano and I improvised this song called I Wish We Were Leaving. I just sat down and wrote it start to finish, which I'd never done before. And as I finished the song, he phoned me. So I was like, maybe that's a sign. So I sent him that song and he loved it. So we recorded it together. And then I went on tour with him for a year and a half, opening shows. It was meant to be 9 shows. The audiences loved me so much that they just kept booking me. And it went from 9 to 57 shows. And we became really good friends. And then I asked him if he'd sing on the follow-up album. And he came, took me to the studio in LA where Gaga did The Fame. We recorded his vocals there. I got him to do backing vocals on 2 other songs. And we've just been really good friends ever since.
That's an incredible story.
Yeah, it's wild. Like I can't believe that that's really true.
Right.
But he is genuinely like one of the most wonderful people I've ever met. And he does not push other artists to look cool or to further his own career. He genuinely just loves music so much. Like when we were on tour around Europe, I would hang out with him every day before the show, right? So we'd just be hanging out in his little dressing room and my band would be in mine. And we would love to go record shopping. So we started going record shopping for each other and we'd be emailing, being like, oh, do you have this? Do you have that? And are you looking for anything? And one day he was like, all I want today actually is Faith by George Michael. And I went out and I found it straight away. And he got me the Phil Spector Christmas album. And then we'd like show each other what we'd bought as like record holders. Like he's such a gigantic music fan. Yeah. And it was so inspiring to see somebody that far into their career still get such joy from music and supporting music.
Yeah. I mean, you hear about, early on in Gaga's career that he befriended Gaga. You've heard that he's befriended Chappell Roan.
Yeah.
And it's so lovely to hear how genuine those
really
connections are. Yeah.
It's really genuine. It's hard to describe. And I'm sure people will be rolling their eyes listening to the podcast being like, oh, he has to say that. But like, it's true. I don't, if you see that I've met someone and I don't mention them, it's because I don't really get much from them. I only talk like that about people that I genuinely think are fantastic.
Right.
I think that's incredibly, especially like as host of the show, like I think that's super relatable, right? And one of the benefits of whatever industry you're working in is to meet like the coolest people who also do what you do and love what you love. No, I think we get it. I actually feel like our listeners are really down with that. Like, believe you.
Well, I hope you do. It's true. It's true.
We're all about being open, honest, and direct here. And then, so you must feel similarly about Scissor Sisters.
I love them. I would say that they saved my life. I think when I was growing up, being gay was such a divisive truth. In South Wales at that time, like we did have quite a few gay clubs in Swansea, but it was you had to kind of go there and not be seen going there. And so I went to college and I had a college radio show with my friend and we just found Laura one day, it was like sent by the label and we were like, oh my God, what is this? This is so much fun. So we used to play them every week on my radio show. And I don't know how they did it, but my university booked Scissor Sisters to play our leaving ball. It was Amy Winehouse, Scissor Sisters and Ash, who is this Irish band who are amazing. So I got to see them, and then a week later saw them playing at Glastonbury. And I was just so liberated by this outrageously queer troupe of people. And they really made me think like, wow, I can survive in this world as a queer person, and I can have a career, and I don't have to like retreat into the shadows. I can be me and have a job. And without them, I don't know if I would have had the confidence to push as hard as I did. So I really credit them with changing the landscape for many, many artists, like a whole generation of people. And I'm friends with all of them. We text each other all the time. When I moved here, I moved in with Del Marquis. I was his tenant for like 3 years. I wrote with Baby Daddy 2 of the songs on 2 of the albums. I, worked with Jason multiple times. Anna and I are really good friends. Like I cat sat for her over Christmas. I think they are like the absolute fucking coolest people in the whole world. And I get so emotional thinking about how good friends I am with them and how kind they've been to me when they really didn't need to be. And they're just brilliant. I will never hear anyone say anything bad about them.
When I was going out in the East Village in my late 20s, the Phoenix was my place, and I would always see Del Marquis with his group of the hottest boys. I was always yearning for those boys. Anyway, I love that. I love that. And I just think it's so amazing that as an indie artist that you've got this incredible support of some of these huge industry players.
It was very unexpected. Not to give like a sob story looking at the camera, but when I was sort of coming of age in London, it's like 2009 to 2012 when I was initiating Bright Light and putting out my first album. All of my friends got signed to major labels apart from me, and all of them had like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of pounds, which at the time, say like £200,000 at the time was $400,000, which is what multiple friends got signed to labels for. And I had 4,000 in my bank account to make and promote my first album. And I would go out all the time, and I would be around all the A&R people that would sign my friends. And they really made me feel just so untouchable, that it was such a shitty period of time. And I ended up being the one to work with my heroes.
Right.
Versus the people that got signed. And, they were very talented also. Like I don't resent them getting signed, but it was just like, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Mm-hmm. What was it that
I really don't know. I don't know
how proudly gay your music is.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Like, to date, I've done everything that a label wants you to do. I've worked with Elton John. I've toured the world with like blah 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 people. I've had the biggest album of my career, which is top 10 in the UK, and labels don't want to work with me. So now I don't care. I'm kind of fine. But at the time, it was very painful to just feel like nothing I do is good enough. It's like I could literally piss wine, and they would say, "Well, it's not champagne,"
right?
So like what I hope I am is a reminder to aspiring creatives that you don't have to be somebody that fits a mold, or you don't even have to be upheld by the mechanics of the system that you're trying to work within, because it's not for everybody. And, as another example, Ray, who's like broken out of that system and is now doing her own thing.
Yeah.
She kind of proves that you can be a mega star without that machine, without you bending yourself to be in that machine.
Yeah.
So I hope that I give people a little bit of momentum to keep trying their creative endeavors, because I never thought I would get here. I never thought anyone would listen to my songs, and I've ended up working with all my heroes pretty much.
Yeah.
So, it's quite fun.
Brian always says like everything happens for a reason. And what you're sharing today is like a good testament of that. And it is easy at the start of your career when you watch your friends kind of like launching and taking off, and you're just kind of left in the wings. Like, what is wrong with me? Yeah. It's not about you, right?
It is and it isn't. It definitely is, because they definitely didn't want to sign me, and they didn't want to work with me. So it definitely was about me.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but it was. And I've just freed myself from needing to please them.
There we go.
And that's, it's not like, I don't believe that everything happens for a reason. I'm sorry. Right?
That's okay. That's okay. Many of our listeners get angry with me for saying it.
But I do believe that your initial perception of things needing to happen isn't necessarily the way things should go. And I think what is way more useful than doing all of the pre-planning and trying to make all the stars align is being good at catching yourself on the back foot and knowing how to pivot. So I've always known how to pivot. Like, you know, I don't talk about it much, but like within my career, there has been a lot of things going extremely wrong. And I've always found a way to just rotate a little bit and deflect and make sure that I survive. So survival tactics are super important, which is kind of what any like business does, right? Any small business. I got shot down so many times when I was starting out my own career, when people were like, oh, you think of being a musician as a business, that's so corporate, that's so gross. I'm like, well, you have $100,000 from a record label. So one, you don't have to worry about that. Sure. But two, it's like, yes, I do, because I want to survive doing this for my entire life. This is my joy. And this is also something that I've learned can become like a trade, right? It's like if you're a plumber, how do you show that you're reliable? How do you show that you're good to work with? How do you show that you work well and that what you do is excellent? So with a musician, I'm like, how do I prove that like I care about what I do? It's from a genuine place. How do I make it connect with people? Who am I connecting with? And how do I grow that community? And I don't think that's gross to think like that. I think that's actually like
necessary.
It's not a selfish train of thought. It's like seeing yourself as part of the world, which we all are. None of us exist in a vacuum. Maybe billionaires do, I don't know. But like, you know, it's just like trying to think about you in relation to the world. What are you doing? What are you giving? What are you taking? And how does that balance work? That's what I was trying to say, but no one was interested, and I'm the one still doing it. So, lol.
I mean, gosh, you've recorded with so many of my favorites. As you can see, I'm a Madonna stan, and Donna and Nikki, and that song. This was my house, and I'm not supposed to worry about it. And just kind of the attacks on the LGBTQ community and safe spaces. It's so impressive to me how you can turn, you know, what our struggles and make them these like joyful anthems. And I guess a question that I have for a lot of our guests is like, what words of wisdom can you give our listeners about how do you spread joy in these times?
I think it's about seeing everything you do as a conversation. You know, I think that joy is a two-way street. And I really think that like the more joy you try to create for others, the more you're able to create within yourself. Something I find jarring at the moment is, you know, people are saying like joy is rebellion, right? Joy is protest.
Yes.
But not if you're doing it exclusively for your own benefit. I think that it has to be in relation to other people that need to be uplifted and protected. So yes, joy is protest and rebellion if you are also using that joy to create a space where people can also feel it.
Yeah.
So my entire conduct with my music is trying to create a space where people feel, for however long they dip into it, whether it's a song or a concert, that they feel safe, that they feel heard and seen, and that they feel respected. I have a zero tolerance for disrespect at my shows. If I see somebody who's out of line or somebody that is making somebody else shrink themselves, I will not allow them to be in my space. At my DJ sets, if somebody is taking up too much space, I always ask them to just like check themselves. Because there's, you know, it's easy to think, oh, I need joy and I'm in a queer space. I'm going to be as loud and big as I want to be. Absolutely not, if that means that the people around you have to shrink down to allow for that. It should be, everybody should be able to be as guard down as they want to be, you know? But the respect for everybody else around you is what is missing in Republican versus Democrat or GOP versus the rest of the world. Respect is absolutely everything. So respect is within my music and the world that I want to create.
I love that. why don't we take a little break, and we will come back, and we're going to ask you all about your daddy issue, and I want to get to know more about the man behind Bright Light, Bright Light.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why drivers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
Hey listeners, welcome back to Dads and Daddies, the podcast. We are here with Rod Thomas, and we have a question for you. What is your daddy issue?
My daddy issue is, I think, misogyny in the gay community. It's something that was very present when I was growing up, and I really hoped that that would change a lot over the last couple of decades, but it's still very prominent, and I don't think people clock it necessarily when they are displaying examples of it. The whole flippancy of talking about women in men's spaces makes me want to die. I really just don't understand how we still live in a world where, you've identified yourself as a community that has to fight against, straight patriarchy and heteronormative things, and you still throw women under the bus. I really don't understand how anybody doesn't clock that destructive behavior in themselves, and I find it inexcusable. That's my daddy issue.
We have addressed that recently.
Have you?
Yeah, I'm a girls' gay for sure, and I think about how lucky I am to be here today because of the women who have supported me coming up, and how easy it is for gay men to forget that. Or like one of the things you often hear too is this like gold star gayness, and it's like, why is it a badge of honor that you like haven't made love with a woman? Like, you should be so lucky. They're amazing. So I hear you and deeply appreciate where you're coming from.
I just don't I don't think people truly understand the gravity of the flippancy sometimes, because it's not, I don't think it's always from a place of active misogyny, but I think a lot of it is ingrained language and a lot of it is ingrained behavior. And I am a DJ in a queer space, and I do myself get challenged by groups of bachelorettes that come in and are ignorant. I similarly get challenged by groups of white gays who come in and are ignorant.
Right, it's about the ignorance.
It's not exclusive to the gender or the race or the age. It is the mindset.
Yeah.
But I really do think that, like, if you are somebody that would lose their fucking brain if Ariana Grande or Zara Larsson stepped into the bar, you also have to be very prepared to create space for actual real life women that want to come into the space and celebrate their queerness or their allyship or just a Saturday afternoon in the way that you want to.
Right.
Like the language around it is so weaponized. And I think that, at the moment, everybody is very on edge and very tense, and everyone is very on guard about everything. And I just really think, like, take your barriers and your anger and put them in the right directions. Like, people of a different gender, whether that's non-binary or trans or female or male, whatever, like, you cannot just blanket say that one of these groups does not belong in a space because you are displaying Trump behavior. It is exactly the same as them saying that women shouldn't vote or trans people shouldn't exist or whatever. You are doing the same thing, and I really need you to understand that. Like, I don't see where the disconnect is. I really don't understand how blanket ignorance doesn't equate blanket ignorance and how people can't put that together.
I think the conversation is so important, and I really am so appreciative of you bringing it up because, like you said, so much of it is ingrained, and I think that's where the disconnect you're talking about exists, because it really took Judson saying to me, like, Gold Star Gay, that concept is a misogynistic concept, and that when we joke as gay men about how gross, the female genitalia is, like, that is misogynistic, and of course I should know that, just full stop, but, like, it is so ingrained. It is just like part of the common gay parlance that when he pointed it out, it was like, oh, you're absolutely right. Like, why do we joke about that? Why have I participated in that? I also spoke with Judson about the fact that, until I do believe the universe gave me 2 daughters to like counter the, misogyny that I had embedded within me, and that it has really been very eye-opening to be raising 2 future women in this world.
Yeah, I mean, they will teach you a lot, I think.
Oh, they already have.
The thing that I find so fascinating, like when I was growing up, we had like a matriarch in our friendship group who kind of really introduced everyone to all the other gays. She's, I think she's probably bisexual, but she was mostly lesbian growing up.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who had that same experience where it was really like a woman that was like the social glue. So I'm like, how can you then say that you don't think women belong in the queer spaces, because it was literally a woman that allowed you to come out,
right?
Mm-hmm. And like if you see It's a Sin, where you have Jill as that character, that's kind of what Heather was to me, but she was also queer,
right?
I don't understand how you have people like that in your life and then can still bring yourself to say that women don't belong in your spaces. I don't understand how those 2 things match.
Right.
But I don't think that the people that say it necessarily, it's like GOP people who are like, oh, I hate gay people. Oh, not them. They're nice. Right. It's that same mentality of like, they will say something and they'll be like, oh, no, not her. She's my friend.
Right.
And not clock the fact that your blanket statement also includes that friend.
The friend.
Right? So you have to really examine your own language and your own biases constantly. Everyone does. Everyone has to. I do. You do. Everyone has to. And it's an ongoing process, because, every day you see a different type of person or a different type of community that you maybe haven't had a close encounter with before. So it's like shedding that, like, oh, someone's telling me off. Like, get rid of that, because you're not in school. Life is school. Like, you're learning all the time. And if you're not, you really don't have your eyes open.
Yeah.
I learned a lot moving to America. Like, I had a real wake-up call about like active racism coming to America, because it's a very different type of racism here than it is in the UK. And listening to Black friends talk to me about racism in America and then seeing it firsthand was like so wild to see, like the volume of it and the weaponizing of everything and the gravity of racism here. And it's displayed in different directions to what it is in the UK. So it's, everything. You can learn so much about every aspect of life on the daily here and everywhere in the world. Like, you just have to really be prepared to just listen.
Yeah.
Yeah. And pay attention.
I
really appreciate what you said about this close female friend growing up. I am still in touch with, I feel so lucky, and I've mentioned this before, like I was best friends with like the rebellious daughters of divorce, and these women created the space for me to be who I am today. And, do gays get upset because like they mourn the loss of like a social sexual space? I don't know, because like as gay bars become more mixed, like there is less sex, but also like there's still so many options for sex other places. It's just like, it's okay, guys. Like, go to the bar or the club to hang with your girlies, and then go to the private sex party to fuck around or jerk off. Like, it's okay.
Yeah.
They don't have to be the same thing. There's especially in a place like New York City. Yeah.
Well, thank you for that. So I am curious, how are you not like all the other boys?
That line in my song is kind of like a joke, because I don't think that I'm special, but I recognize the fact that I'm not cookie cutter. So it's more like poking fun at myself, but also allowing myself to be empowered by things that I have achieved. I spent a lot of time being very like humble or like very British about things, like, not really talking about things I'd achieved. And I come to America and everyone at brunch is fucking telling me about like these wonderful, gorgeous things that they've achieved and, like bragging about all this kind of bullshit. I'm like, well, maybe I can actually celebrate my own success once in a while. And so I wrote that song just as a like, do you know what? I've done things too.
I love that. And so you've just put out a collection of duets that are reimaginings of other songs of yours that you've done, but now as duets. And then so everybody should go find Bright Light duets. And then before that was Enjoy Youth.
Yes.
Which I've heard you talk about why you've called it that. And I'm going to ask you to repeat that because, I'm in my 50s. I think you both are very similarly aged, but I don't feel my age. I feel young, and especially when it comes to music and on the dance floor. So I love that it's called Enjoy Youth. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yes. So when I was 13, I met a girl on an AOL chat room, not like that. And then we...
R.I.P. AOL chat rooms.
Yes, R.I.P. Yeah. We became pen friends. For any younger fans, pen's what you use to write letters. And she moved from Glasgow to France, like just outside of Paris, to work for this very rich family as an au pair. And then she moved into Paris to work for this other family. And so when I was 17, I ended up going on like a French trip with my college. What do you call it? High school. It was our college. And somehow persuaded my teacher to let me, instead of going on the planned trip, to go and meet a stranger off the internet in a pub. So I don't know why, but that's what I did. And I met Janice and we had so much fun. We just became really good friends. And so I used to then go and stay with her in Paris. And she was working for this fabulous family. She lived on the 6th floor and the families had like the 2nd floor. So we were going out one night and the grandmother of the family opened the door and saw us going out. And she was like, oh, where are you going? And we were like, oh, we're going to a club, Mamo. We were underage, of course. And she was like, well, enjoy youth. And it sort of shattered the idea of ageism and aging out of having fun. Like the look in her eyes was so alive. She was so excited for us to go and have this crazy night out in Paris. And it really made me think like, wow, you don't have to age. You don't have to lose the sense of like naughtiness and fun. And it really changed my perspective on the world. So I wrote the title track about Janice because she really changed my perspective of the world, like moving overseas, learning another language, doing something completely unlike everyone else. Like she's the reason that I felt like I could try making music. So I named the album after her based on the quote from the family she was working with, because it reminded me that life is for the taking, It's fabulous. It's like, obviously there's privilege attached to that, but I have never had any guarantees that my attempt at, not success, but my creative attempts or my life decisions, like moving to America, there was never any point guarantee that that was the right decision to make. And I just thought like, I want to try it and I'm going to go for it. And I've made it work through hard work and through a lot of sacrifice, but I've made everything work. And I wanted the album to inspire people to just try things, even if they don't work. If there's something you really want to do, it's like, why not? You've got one shot on this earth. Like, why not just try something?
Are you happy living in the US?
I love New York.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
The thing I struggle with is that America, the US, is an incredible place. And I've met so many wonderful people on my travels around it. When I moved here in 2013, but I did the tour with Elton in 2014 and we traveled all around America. It was just magical. Driving through, like Utah and Washington State and everything and like Montana. It was incredible. Like just the most amazing 3 months. And the countryside is so fabulous. The people are so fabulous that I really fell in love with America. And I do still love America very, very, very much. It is a wild place to live at the moment.
Yeah.
But I do have enormous love for this country.
Very well stated.
And comforting hearing it from somebody who's not originally from here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's hard to love our country right now. So on the album, you also wrote what you said is your first song about sex.
Probably, well, it's the first one that explicitly says sex.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is your relationship to sex?
Great. I mean, it's great. It's just not really my, I kind of want to talk about things that are slightly more interesting in songs than just sex, because most people have sex and most people have their own relationship to it. So I don't really feel like anybody particularly needs my perspective on that in a song. But with the song, You Want My, it was actually written initially to be pitched to like a different artist.
Okay.
And I really liked it, so I wanted to keep it. And I thought it was just like really like sassy and sexy and funny. It's not meant to be like a serious song, but it's like fun to perform, and it's fun to just like talk, like say the word sex, like, it's like a reference to George Michael's I Want Your Sex. It's also the way that I say sex is replicating Goldie Hawn in Death Becomes Her, where she's meeting Ernest again after the reunion and she's like, sex. I do it in the same way she does it. So it's supposed to be very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
But like simply singing about sex is not interesting to me.
Sure.
I also feel like not singing about sex is like not that interesting. Like it drives me insane that Taylor Swift has like 1,700 songs and not a single one of them is about sex.
Well, until this most recent album.
Until this most recent album, yes. But I do also think like it gives people, not that relationships like have to have sex, but if you are a person in a relationship that sex feels important, it's nice to have that like reflected in the culture that you're consuming. So I hear where you're coming from, and also like I'm always happy to hear people talk about sex in whatever they're doing, whether it's like music, poetry, theater, just as a sexual being.
Sure. On the flip side, I don't personally find other people's sex lives very interesting. I really enjoy my sex life, and I really enjoy that my friends have great sex. I have absolutely zero interest in hearing about their sexual endeavors because it's truly for them and the person they're involved with. Like, I don't care, like, for better and worse. I'm really glad that sex positivity is much more of a thing, and I'm really glad that people are able to have much more interesting sex than they've ever been able to have without being judged for it. But I absolutely don't feel the need to have the details of it because it is not interesting to me. Like, I love, I watch porn, obviously, and I love all the people that I have sex with. Like, that's great. But do I want to hear about someone's sex life? No. I would rather hear them. I just don't care. Like, it's not for me.
I enjoy hearing about other people's sex lives to the extent that it may make me aware of like a particular party or particular space or particular location where like I could meet somebody.
Sure.
Or give you an idea of something that you can do.
Or give me an idea. Yeah, like things that Brian has done with his husband. I'm like, ooh, I'm going to take that to my husband. But you're right. I don't hear my friends' sexcapades and think, oh my God, you're like a cooler person than I thought you were, 5 minutes ago before this story.
Like, I understand why you want an artist to talk about sex or whatever for you. Personally, for me, I do not have like a gap in, for example, Air, the band Air. I don't feel the need for them to have a song about sex. Or like Björk, like she does have songs which are about sensuality and about sex, but I don't feel like I need her to have a song about that. I love that she felt the need to explore her sensuality and sexuality on things like Vespertine, but would I have been disappointed if she'd never talked about sex? No. But everyone has a different relationship to, like, for some people it's liberating to have the artist talk about being a sexual being, so you maybe feel more related to them, or you maybe feel less inhibited about feeling super sexual. But for me, I've never needed an artist to talk about their sexuality. I think it's different with like an out gay artist. Like it was very liberating when George Michael talked about it.
Right.
But I don't want to hear Taylor Swift talk about sex.
Right. I mean, I think
I don't need to.
I think to Justin's point, I think we have a whole generation, I mean, because of her level of influence, that we have a whole generation who, in my opinion, in my experience of those who I have in my life, feel almost afraid to talk about sex.
Correct.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like we believe that there's so much value in talking about sex because that's how shame is removed from it. And I do think, I don't want the Swifties to come after us, but I do think that there is this generation that does not talk about it because,
that's fair. I didn't think about the age of the generation or like the demographics. So yeah, I do understand that.
Because I don't know who your assigned pop diva is, but mine is Britney Spears.
Okay.
And if you go through her canon, like her catalog, so much of the music is about fucking, but in a way that is just like really sensual and really sweaty and really sexy. It's never like, I like dick, right? It's much more like nuanced and like cool.
Yeah.
And I have been really on a kick with her lately. And there's so many songs that I'm like, yeah, like this is about like getting nasty.
Right.
And I love that.
But flipping it round, so you pinpointed when I said that I wrote my first song about sex. Do you think that my entire canon of work pre to that song is
sexless?
Is sexless or derivative?
No.
Okay.
No.
Why?
No. Maybe I think it has partially to do with your look, and also like I've seen the way your body moves. I feel like you have an aura of sex about you. And even though like some of the words are romantic, and even though again they're not like I like dick, I still associate it with like the act of sex with a man. Right.
Well, I think that anything that is inherently queer, like the larger community can't help but associate it.
Right. But that's not the same thing as the songs being about sex.
But the songs being about gay joy, it is.
But do you see what I'm saying?
Sure.
Yeah.
Like I'm just playing like
devil's advocate?
No, not devil's advocate, but I'm finding it interesting to think about the other perspective.
Sure.
Of like, because you did raise that like somebody should be talking about sex in songs, and you raised that I hadn't been. So I thought it was just an interesting point of conversation.
Yeah.
I'm not being defensive. I'm just genuinely interested
yes.
in what your like in what your take on that was. That's all.
Oh yeah, I don't know.
Drama.
Drama. I see gay men out doing the thing, and I do like think sex, but that's also just like part of my relationship to the world.
So my point really, I think, is that I don't need somebody to be explicitly talking about sex in the material if the human experience is sort of 3D, right?
Yeah.
But I do understand, especially when it's like somebody that represents a generation, that if that is never present, then it does cause conflict of perception of like of someone's being. Right? That's what you're trying to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
Nailed it. We did it.
We're going to take a quick break and come back.
She needs to have a Valium.
We did it. We're going to take a quick break and then come back, and you're going to help us answer a Go Ask Your Dad question. Before we do, please tell our listeners where they can find you.
You can find me online. All of the socials are at BrightLightX2. If you live in New York City, every Saturday you can find me at Club Coming between 4 and 8 p.m. and I DJ a tea dance, which is always free, and you can request songs on a post-it. And then the website is brightlightx2.com.
I love a tea dance because
we love an afternoon dance
party. Yes.
Me too. I love a brunch, a dance, and then dinner and home.
Exactly.
I'm trying to be in bed before 10 p.m. Thank you so much. Yeah.
You're welcome.
And also, if you are in DC, Philadelphia, New York City, Boston, Pittsburgh, Seattle, Portland, San Francisco, Los Angeles, or Palm Springs, you still have a chance to see the Cosmic Light Tour with Grag Queen and Bright Light, Bright Light. So please go check that out. If you want a night of joy, of queer joy. All right, we will be right back.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Hey listeners, welcome back to Dads and Daddies, the podcast. We have arrived at Go Ask Your Dad, where we address listener-submitted questions. Just keep in mind that no one at this table, although a professional, is not a professional lawyer, financial planner, physical or mental health practitioner. We just respond to your questions with our life experience.
To submit a Go Ask Your Dad question, please email us at dadsanddaddies@gmail.com. Voice memos do turn us on the most. Judson is going to read us this week's question.
I am in an open relationship going on 25 years. Congrats! But I have never used the apps before. I always feel intimidated and am not sure how to proceed. What do I post? How do you take pics? What about trolls and robbers? I feel like a teenager trapped in a hot 50-year-old body. Any advice would be appreciated.
Who wants to start?
I guess it's sort of thinking about why you want to use the apps versus what has already been working for you. I think really like any decision you make sexually is going to be fine as long as you know why you're doing it, right? So you just like, what does it say? Like, how do you take pics? I mean, how do you want to be seen? Really, I always think about this. Like, when I was younger, I was very caught up about like what people wanted to see and what you should wear and blah, 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 blah. And as you get a bit older, you just sort of want to be yourself. So I would just say, take pictures that represent you and your joy and your energy and your needs or your desires or what kinks you have or whatever. And if people don't respond to that, they're not the person that you should be hooking up with, right?
That's exactly it. Like, you should only, on these apps, you should only be going for what you
100%.
Want.
That's what they're for.
That's what they are for. But we fall into this
for.
trap of wanting to give people what they want because you don't want the feeling of rejection when somebody doesn't respond or when somebody blocks you or when a conversation doesn't end with what you wanted it to. But the fact of the matter is you don't want to hook up with somebody who doesn't want to give you what you want anyway.
Yeah.
But it takes some of us some time to learn that. The apps can be quite the rabbit hole to fall down, and they can really mess with your self-image and self-esteem. And so, for somebody who's never been on the apps and you've been, you said you're 50 or so. First of all, when I turned to 50, that was when I really stopped giving a fuck about what people thought. So, maybe you're in a great place to do this, but I would really caution, not to let people's reactions on the app affect how you see yourself, because they're basing it on such little information. You have no idea where their heads are at the time. We talk in the podcast all the time about bad experiences on the apps, and just having to realize that whatever happens is more about that person, or it's all about that person and not about you. The question I do want to address is about the, trolls and robbers. Trolls, again, they just, whatever trolling happens says more about them than about you. In terms of robbers or scammers, yes, they exist. Yes, we've interacted with them. Judson's husband is particularly talented at toying with them because he gives no fucks about what information about him is out there. Because at this point in our lives, is there anything that can surprise anyone? But listen, don't give out don't give out your phone number unless you've really confirmed that this is somebody that you want to do that with. Typically I wouldn't give a phone number until after I've met somebody in person. Certainly don't give out any other, revealing information like payment information, anything like that. But I think for the most part, I've found people on the apps are just other people like you trying to meet people and have a nice time.
I also am a big fan, and we say this a lot, of just go with your gut. You've gotten to 50 safely, happily. if it doesn't feel right, it's not right. And you don't have to prove anything to anyone else. Like, you're going for your pleasure and your comfort and your safety. And that is not worth sacrificing, no matter how quote unquote hot or eager this other party is.
Yeah.
And you can also use this, this listener, thank you again for the question, states that they are in an open relationship.
Yeah.
You can use your partner as an accountability buddy.
Absolutely.
Like, hey, what do you like? Show them the conversation, see what they think, let them know where you're going to be at what time and who with. Like,
that's useful, actually, that you have somebody that knows where you're going to be. Not everyone has that comfort or the safety of that.
We always tell people to message the pod. It's like, if you're unsure and you want an accountability buddy, like, hit up me and Brian and we'll check in on you. No problem.
Great. That's fabulous.
Thank you so much for the question. Again, to email us a question, just write it up and send it to dadsanddaddies@gmail.com. Rod, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much for being here.
Today.
This is great. Right on the cusp of a tour, too. Get that rest.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Wishing you all the best on the tour. Can't wait to hear all about it. On the other end, you're welcome back anytime. Thank you all for being with us again this week. Check us out on dadsanddaddies.com. Pick up some Dads and Daddies merch. Sign up for our weekly newsletter. Before you jump off of whatever platform you're listening to us on today, please do leave us a rating and a review. We would greatly appreciate it. For now, we will say goodbye and see you in a week.
See you in a week.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.